Morning, this is Brian. A little messy hair today. It's a very breezy, absolutely scintillatingly awesome, beautiful day here in the Santa Ana mountain range. What about an elevation of 3,300 feet? And I want to post a spotlight update video. Today's spotlight update is on a tree I spotlighted back in October of 2020. It is called the Oracle Oak, Quercus morehus. And this is the Oracle Oak right here. Now, in my October 11th video, I pretty much described the general characteristics of Oracle Oak. It's a hybrid, so when you see the name written out, it'll be Quercus x morehus. Hybrid between California black oak, Quercus kelloggii, and interior live oak, either Quercus wislizeni variety wislizeni, or mostly in Southern California, say Quercus wislizeni variety frutescens. Both varieties of Quercus wislizeni, when pollen's received from Quercus kelloggii, can form Oracle Oak. So, again, I talked about this being here in Southern California, it's generally quite a thicket, usually a thickety shrub, small tree, but somewhere, I think in the Sierra foothills, there's a specimen that's over 100 feet tall, like 108 feet tall. And I discussed how individuals can be nearly fully evergreen to nearly fully deciduous. Well, this one walks the line in between. As I spotlighted this guy before, it was in the early half of October, so it still had pretty much all of its regularly green leaves on it. You can tell here, you can maybe see some color in some of the leaves. Some of the leaves turn yellow and fall off. This tree is about half deciduous, so I consider this to be semi-deciduous. Did a video about the evergreen / deciduous habits of birch leaf cercocarpus, or birch leaf mountain mahogany, and scrub oak. You can refer to that video for some information about those. But I'm here looking at this beautiful, beautiful Oracle Oak here. That's definitely a lot larger than any other Oracle Oak I've seen here in the Santa Ana mountain ranges, Santa Ana mountains. And it's one of the taller specimens I've seen, period, because they tend to be shrubbier here. Though I've seen a few that are probably close to 40 feet near on 7N23 in Angeles National Forest, up above Lake Hughes, which probably burnt during the 2020 lake fire, unfortunately. They'll resprout from their bases. I'm not worried about them dying. They'll resprout. But there were a couple of very impressive specimens of Oracle Oak over there, and there were lots and lots of Oracle Oaks in that area. Palomar Mountain, the state park, and the Cleveland National Forest portion also hosts a lot of these. So now, again, you see there are still, especially in the lower canopy, there's a lot more green foliage left. And again, you can kind of see the slight, the shallow lobing in the leaves. The lobing in the leaves comes from its black oak parent, Quercus kelloggii, but it's slightly, and its thinner texture comes from Quercus kelloggii as well, the California black oak. So it's a little bit thicker, just a little bit thicker than the black oak leaf, but not by much. The interior live oak is where it gets slight thickness from. Again, intermediate traits. So why am I back to this tree again? Again, I want to show you the retention of leaves goes back to its interior live oak parent. The deciduousness of this tree goes back to its California black oak heritage. And you can see a lot of the leaves turn yellow and fall off. My first time ever seeing this tree was back in December of 2014, and there was actually a little bit of fall color on this tree. So again, Oracle Oaks can range from nearly fully evergreen to, in some cases, nearly fully deciduous, usually in between. retains quite a few of its leaves, again from its interior live oak parent, and sheds a lot of its leaves, according to its California black oak parent. And I know I've mentioned it in the previous spotlight on Oracle oak, that California black oak is not native here to the Santa Ana Mountains, so there's always the wondering of how Oracle oaks came to be. And I don't have any clear-cut answer, at least not any clearer-cut than the last time I discussed this, but likely somewhere in the past, we might have, when the climate was wetter, we might have had populations of California black oak here in the Santa Ana Mountains. And therefore, trees like this are a legacy of that previous population. Because California black oaks have been known to grow down to and below, sometimes even slightly below 3,000 feet here in Southern California. Up north they grow much lower, but down here in Southern California, you usually typically find them above 3K, but sometimes slightly below, like near Lake Henshaw in San Diego County. So we might have had populations of black oak that might have been extirpated due to the climate becoming a little too dry. However, I don't know if that's 100% true, because California black oaks can be quite drought tolerant themselves. So I really don't have a 100% positive reason why Oracle oak is here because black oak might have been here before. It might, you know, I can't tell you 100% why, but that is a possibility. And then the other possibility is that the pollen from California black oak might blow over during really windy periods. Sometimes pollen can blow incredibly far distances because it's so lightweight. Pollen grains are so lightweight, they could probably blow for miles. So maybe black oak pollen from Palomar Mountain, the San Jacinto Mountains, the San Bernardino Mountains, the Eastern San Gabriels, maybe during some really crazy winds, sometimes the pollen might blow that far. So again, it's kind of interesting to find a species, a hybrid oak with only one parent found here. And interior live oak is very much commonly found here in the Santa Anas. So I just want to take a few minutes to do kind of an update spotlight. And there it is, that beautiful. I always loved this tree. The beautiful Oracle oak. So if you're ever by Blue Jay Campground, there's a San Juan trailhead towards the back of Blue Jay Campground. Of course, the gate's closed, so the campsites over here are closed because of, I guess, they're still concerned about fire danger. But you can still kind of walk over here and check it out. There it is, Quercus morehus, the venerable oak. And this is, again, February 14th, so a lot of this canopy is leafless. But, like I said, it's semi-deciduous. So by the time March or early April comes around, the new leaves are going to come out, and it's going to be clothed in this new cloak of leaves. So, evergreen and deciduous, just like in the last video. It's not always so clear cut whether a plant is going to be, a tree is going to be evergreen or it's going to be deciduous. Sometimes there are subtle differences, especially some plants seem to have intermediate characteristics. So, here we are, Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia, the coast live oak, evergreen. And we have interior live oak. That reminds me, I did see a very curious looking interior live oak before coming down here. Kind of want to go over to that and kind of show you something interesting about that one. I thought it was interesting. And forgive the wind, it's very breezy today, so there might be some wind pollution here. Wind pollution, no, noise pollution in the camera. Alright, so talked about interior live oak being an evergreen species. Well, over here, where is it? Here's an interior live oak right here. You you notice it's not very densely foliated. Again, sometimes the evergreen moniker might not be the best way to put everything. This one seems to have a very, very sparse canopy. So, and I looked carefully, not too carefully. That's a patch of dormant poison oak right there. I could tell that this is definitely not an oracle oak, but again, evergreen versus deciduous, not always so clear cut. Because this interior live oak, not very densely foliated, and a lot of those twigs look like they're living tissue twigs. They don't look like they're dead twigs. So sometimes even species that are renowned for being evergreen might sometimes surprise you. But again, interior live oak tends to be evergreen, just on a general note. But occasionally, I guess some individuals might shed some leaves due to some drought or some other stress. I guess that's going to do it on my follow-up spotlight on the oracle oak. And I know you're thinking, why am I revisiting the same plant? But sometimes I like to do updates because different seasons bring about different appearances in plants. A lot of deciduous shrubs and trees can be found here in the Santa Ana ranges as well. So you'll see one in the summer, it might be luxuriant, green, and leafy. Then you come in January, it looks like a pile of twigs because it's deciduous. I think that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it helpful in helping identify and appreciate our native flora here in Southern California. See you on the next video.